ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. We have been looking at the entrails of the Drishti Srishtivada and the concept of Eka Jiva Vada also, which is a connected thing. And we have seen the difficulties with it. But then again, having appreciated the difficulties, it is nice to see that that there are some wonderful things about the Drishti Srishtivada, that in some ways it is identical to understanding it from the standpoint of the three orders of reality. We have looked at that. And there are some wonderful things. It's because it talks at, it addresses it addresses perception at a very, very, very deep and analytical level, because it goes along with the premise: how can you perceive something without your subjectivity? This is the premise. And so, if that is the truth, that you can't perceive something without your subjectivity coming in play, the mic is not connected. 1 second. Without your subjectivity coming in play, if you are able to perceive something, that would just not even be real in a sense. So the any perception is affected by the infrastructure of the perceiver. This is the premise. The infrastructure of the perceiver is affecting the perception. And so this is a very good premise, because when we study the three orders of the reality, we are always in some kind of a comfortable and a complacent division. And what is that division? Oh, this is the empirical reality, and then that's the paramarthika. That means somewhere it is. And then what else? And then, of course, I have my own pratibhasika. So the even though it's a very good premise and it's a very good what should I say, viewpoint to be able to understand Vedanta, it's very healthy, and it is it's got its feet in very objective analysis of the Jagat, of Ishvara, of the Jiva, everything. Still, going along with it for a little while, I mean, this is good for in the beginning. But then, as one progresses, and that's why this verse is number 81, not number 1. Okay, so in the Satasloki, because there has been a progression and a growth in the person, and that growth is acknowledged. That growth is acknowledged, and then so now the Shatashlokikara, the writer of the Shatasloki, thinks that we are ready to go there. Where is there to where is the there to go? The there that we are ready to go is the place where we can query the empirical level, or from a different standpoint, from the standpoint of certitude in the knowledge. So when there is a standpoint of certitude in the knowledge, then it is very, very easy to understand this. To understand that the whole Drishya Varga means the manifest universe, meaning as it is objectified by you. The manifest universe as it is objectified by you does not exist separately from you. This is the best prasada of the Drishti Srishtivada that we have been discussing. And it really is helpful to as a pedagogical device to be able to go to this place of the spiritual growth, of Advaita. Basically, this is what Advaita is. And what is this Advaita? To be in Paramarthika all the time. But we forget that. We forget that because, as the Kathopanishad says, Paranchikhani Vyatrinat Swayambhuhu Parak Pashyati Nacha Antaratman. The person is firmly planted in Vyavaharika, in the transactional reality. Why? Primarily because the person thinks that this is, primarily because that's the place where the karta and the bhokta both operate. In dream, there is only bhokta. In sleep, there is neither bhokta nor karta. Only in the waking state, there is karta and bhokta, means there is more mischief in the waking state because these two fellows are there together at the same time. And they have a wonderful marriage. Karta is very dedicated to the bhokta because all the actions that are done are for the sake of fulfillment of wishes. Bhogaya karma. And so, therefore, this is something which is so important to understand. That is why the waking state is fraught with so many difficulties. So, the Karta Bhokta are alive, and what else is alive? All the sense organs are alive, unlike in sleep. So, for a person who is deeply asleep, even if you brandish a samosa in front of their nose, fresh samosa, they will not wake up. Unless their prarabdha makes them happen to wake up at that time. So, but in the waking state, you can smell the samosa in the neighbor's house cooking. And so this is the reason why there are so many quote unquote distractions. This is the reason the when we are complacent about these three orders of reality, we tend to be in the empirical, we tend to live in the empirical all the time, and then the sleep state becomes, some kind of an aberration, and Paramarthika appears out of reach. That is why the best gift of the Drishti Srishtivada is to reverse this, is to make sure that one has dardhya. Dardhya means dridhasya bhava. Dardhya. Dardhya means certitude. One has certitude in this understanding that I alone am unpropped, unconnected to anything, and I am not I alone am. And then there are some small things there, and which are going to be talked about in verse number 82. So might as well just touch upon them now. And there are some small, what should I say, mistakes that one can fall into. What are they? I alone am everything. Oh, but then I'm looking at the Jagat. I'm looking at the trees. I'm looking at the mountains. I'm looking at the ocean. What's all that? Well, they are all in me. This is another problem. In me becomes what? Means what? I become the location. I become the place where all these things reside. Again, we have two, not one. This is very, very subtle but extremely important by way of our discussion and analysis. So one would think, why are we sitting here and splitting the Vedantic hair? It is not so much hair splitting. It is really taking seriously the vision of the Upanishads as there being only one and one alone. And so, in the beginning, the Jagat is an inconvenient truth. To be, you can't put it under the carpet, and you can't, what do you do with it? And then you keep saying, okay, this is there, this is a manifestation, it's not a creation, it's a manifestation, Vedanta 101. Then who is the manifester? Ishvara. Vedanta 102. Ishvara is everything is Ishvara. Ishvara is the man, the creator of the Jagat, the manifester of the Jagat. Jagat revolves because Ishvara is. Jagat is because Ishvara is. Jagat resolves into Ishvara. And Jagat has come out of Ishvara. Why? Well, did Ishvara not have any work? No, no, no. It's because of the jiva's desire for, the jiva's desire for eking out certain karmas and wanting a place to play. So they, like the children all banded together and demanded a playground. This is what the jivas are. All these childish fellows, these childish entities, what did they do? They wanted to play. So they said, I want a jagat. I want, and in this jagat, I want, it's like, when you go to the restaurant and order according to your custom desires. You say, I'll have the salad, but bring the dressing on the side. And then meanwhile the waiter is thinking another crazy one has come. This this is what the waiter secretly is thinking. They are not, they cannot afford to tell you that, because they want their job, they want to keep their job, but this is what they are thinking. In India, they will not even listen to you. If you say, bring me sambar but no idli, they will just say, they will just ignore your request completely, because they don't even know how to do that. How to charge you for just the sambar, they don't understand. So, but this is a custom made jagat, and so like this, there is this thing. Okay, Ishvara, and then Ishvara, it is it is resolving in Ishvara, and it is there because of the karmas of the jivas. Still, we are on the way to Advaita, you can say, but still we are firmly in Dvaita alone, in the duality alone. Therefore, what to do? Drishti Srishtivada. That is what to do. Because otherwise, the empirical reality will always keep shining. First, it's an inconvenient truth, and then after that, what do you do with this Jagat, and what do you do with all the people? And then if you say they don't exist and if you dismiss them, then you are in a place of dissociation and disconnection. You cannot do that. But at the same time, you cannot completely, what's its name, take them to be real as well. And so what? So get it to the next level, the postgraduate, postdoc course in Vedanta. This is really, that is why this is really what is talked about in the Mandukya Upanishad, and which is why the Mandukya Upanishad is taught at the end of the study. We don't start with Mandukya Upanishad. Why? Because the few Vedanta students we have, we would like to keep them, okay? Yeah, because if we start with Mandukya Upanishad in the beginning, everything, yad bhutam, yad bhavyam, tadapi atma. If you start like that, no stories, no Nachiketa, no Yama, nobody, nothing. If you start like that, then, you will be talking to yourself, which is what one is doing on Zoom most of the time. But at least there are people that you can look at. So, so this is, this. So this is why it is kept for the end of the study, because one has to grow in emotional maturity, and so it is a commendable thing that the Shatasloki Kara thinks of us as having matured enough to be able to assimilate this particular piece of the knowledge. And what is this? This is the Drishti Srishtivada. And how does it apply in this situation? Very easy. Because when you're looking at the Jagat, so the level one, Vedanta is what? The Jagat is Ishvara. And level 2 Vedanta is what? Jagat is an extension of me. But then again, it's that me is again an iffy me, because then if it's an extension of me, what is the connection between the me and the Jagat? For this, we need a me mamsa. That's why it's called me mamsa, because it's all about me. It's an analysis of me. And so now this is the level 2 Vedanta. The Jagat is an extension of me. And then level 3 is what? What Jagat? Question mark. What Jagat? Where? Where is Jagat? What do oh, but what is it that you see here? You see the pot, you see the plant, you see a potted plant, you see the elephant, you see this, you see that, you see the mountains, you see the rain, you see the clouds, you see the sea, you see the sky, you see the sun. What's all this? Then the person will say, What is seeing? What is seeing? Oh, you know, seeing. But yeah, tell me what is seeing. Seeing is consciousness. The eyes operate and they bring something to light. Oh, I see. So, what is it that fills up the eyes with light? The sun. What is that makes you even objectify the sun? Oh, my eyes. Okay, here we are in a nice circular argument, aren't we? Well, no, because you see, the I have heard in the Vedanta classes that the light of consciousness is behind the eyes. Oh, good. And so, what is it that you're looking at? Well, that too is not separate from consciousness. Aha, we are getting closer. And then, who is the experiencer? Who is the looker, onlooker? That too is consciousness. Then why go to this Dravida pranayama of catching the nose like that from behind, from the other side? Only Lord Rama and people like that can do. Why? Because they can do this kind of pranayama, because they are because that Lord Rama etc. are what's its name? Ajanu Bahu. Ajanu Bahu means the when you stand, the hands must be so long that you can scratch your knees in comfort without bending. Ajanu Bahu. Janu means knees. So the hands that extend up to the knees, the one who has hands extending up to the knees is called Ajanu Bahu. So then, so now so if everything is consciousness, then why are you doing this Dravida pranayama of always just being in the Jagat mentally, always allowing it to disturb you, even to the slightest degree? So if the Jagat is not really here, then why are we talking about it? Why are we living in it? And most importantly, why are we keeping on reproducing it? When Ishvara produces, it is Jagat. When the Jiva reproduces the Jagat, it turns into a toxic thing called samsara. So why are you keeping on reproducing this Jagat if it is nothing but sorrow? And if it is, on the one hand, it's nothing but sorrow from the standpoint of the emotional, makeup. And then on the other hand, from the standpoint of the Paramarthika, it is nothing but consciousness. So take it as consciousness, no? Why are you just, struggling here? This is a self-made pit that you have dug for yourself. And then now you feel like you have to lie in it. This is not essential. Anavashyam idam. This is not essential at all. And so if this is not essential, then what to do now? The best thing to do is to just be with oneself, in oneself, as oneself, and not give the Jagat any truck, any kind of standing room even. No place. Otherwise, it will be like the story of Muhammad, and the camel. So the story, very very interesting story. So Muhammad and the camel, they are going in the desert. Night falls. I mean, the desert nights are very very chilly. No vegetation, nothing, no cover, and just few cacti. That's all. And so he pitches the tent, ties the camel to the tent post, and then camel outside, Muhammad inside. And then this story is from a time when camels could talk, and so the camel says puts its puts its face in the tent and says, "My nose is so cold, it's frozen. Can I just put my little nose there inside the tent?" Muhammad says, "Okay, poor thing, takes me everywhere, all around the Jagat, all around the desert. So poor thing, let it put its nose." Then afterwards, "Oh, the toes, the paws are very, very chilly. Can I just put my front paws inside?" Yes. And so, like this, not only Muhammad's sleep was disturbed, but then he kept saying yes because he just wanted to, not keep on discussing these things with it. And then by the time morning came, Muhammad was Muhammad was outside the tent with his teeth chattering, and the camel was inside the tent. And this story is interesting because the camel represents the the jagat in one's view. The jiva thinks I can play with the jagat. Oh, after all, I am identifying with this jagat. I am identifying the jagat. It becomes evident to me. I am unlike the jagat. I can play with it a little bit. But then the underlying danger is that the more you engage with the jagat, the more real it becomes. And that is why the prasada, the of the drishti srishtivada is to say, what is it called? Jagadandhya prasangah, is to get to the place of andhyam. Andhyam means there is a certain blindness to the jagat. You don't see it at all. You don't see the people. You don't see the things. See means you do not gift the eyes. You do not lend the consciousness to for sight to take place. Oh, but I thought sight happens. Yes, sight happens. Let it happen. Why are you going after it? Sight happens. Nobody said sight does not happen. It happens on its own. Oh, you only said there is no free will in seeing. Yes, there is no free will in seeing. But then there is free will in going behind what you see, in engaging with what you see. There is free will there. In harnessing that consciousness and then it's spending it, making it spend itself on things that really, really, really do not matter. Now, the danger here is complete disconnection, apathy, aloofness and dissociation from the universe. That's why the Drishti Srishtivada is not for everybody. I'm just explaining the tenets of it. But it is not for everybody until one gets to a place of emotional growth. And until one becomes very certain of the truth of oneself, so certainly abiding in the truth of oneself, which is called a state, which it can't even be called a state, a reality which is called jnana nishtha, abidance in the knowledge. So when that happens, then you know that you are not doing anything and nobody is doing anything to you. And there is only you, there is nobody else. And you don't even have to explain the other bodies in the room and other things in the world as oh, they are an extension of me or they are a manifestation of Bhagavan. That is all goo goo ga ga baby talk at this point. That is all baby talk. That is all just like, when a toddler lisps and talks, that's how it's cute at best. But that's not where one is in one's growth. And so therefore, the person is so asanga. Asanga means uninvolved. Even that word has to be dropped at this point because uninvolved means we have to see from what? The Jagat. And again here, Drishti Srishtivada, if it is to be put in two words, in one sentence, two word sentence, what Jagat? This is the essence of the Drishti Srishtivada. So if you say, I am Asanga, I have nothing, I can just be. I am Asanga. Asanga again is a relational word. Asanga means what? Oh, meaning I am not connected to the Jagat. That we could have told you right away. Gaudapadacharya tells you all that. Who are you to tell me that you are not connected to the Jagat? Means if you say I am not connected to the Jagat, that is also a relationship. It's like a 5-year-old telling its friend, I'm not talking to you. Why? Because you are friends with my enemy. That's why I'm not going to talk to you. You are in their camp. But then what? Not talking is also relating, is a way of relating. So, no, so if I say I am unconnected to anything, that means what? I mean, it's a nice nididhyasana mantra, asangoham. Asangohi ayam purushah. It's again nididhyasana means contemplation to make this much more certain. It's a nice contemplative mantra. Asangoham, asangoham, asangoham punah punah. Satchidananda swarupoham. Ahameva aham avyayah. This is the mantra. It's nice to chant. It's nice to keep on seeing the meaning. But this teaching is for the people who are ready to even let go of this prop of nididhyasa. So asanga means what? That means that there is something there from which you are asanga. Now, now if you say what jagat is the essence of the drishti srishti vada. So what jagat means what? There is nothing there. So you cannot say I am unconnected from the horn of the rabbit. Why? Because there is no need to say that. Because there is no horn of the rabbit anywhere. There is no, there's not anything. There is so from the non-existent, you don't declare a sense of disconnection. I'm unconnected to the non-existent. Listen to yourself. If you say this in polite company, they will just try to change the subject, look the other way, and they will make a note to self: do not invite this person for the next potluck, because it's it's a damper, and the person is a downer, and they just talk all kinds of nonsensical things. And here we are gathered to have a pleasant time, and here this person is coming and spewing out all kinds of nonsensical things. So this is the thing. And so how then the question, I'm curious at least about this, so let us just indulge here. So then the question comes, how does such a person live with the Jagat? How does the person move? How do they make the decisions? Oh, I'm going to go for bhiksha here and not there. How do they make the decision? They don't. In fact, they don't lead the lives. That is what the Mandukya Upanishad says. Life leads them. They don't lead life. You get to the place that life leads you, you don't lead the life. You don't lead the life at all, because again, what life? What Jagat means what life? What life? Where is the life? It's just consciousness. Oh, but you have a body. That too is just consciousness. And so that's why we have the stories in the ancient times and sometimes even in the not so ancient times, of saints that are there in the tradition, who don't see where they are walking. Even Pujya Swamiji, I could see that. He would not even look where he was walking. He was sometimes quite unsteady. And then in the later years, of course, and people had to hold him because he would definitely fall otherwise. Once I was reading to him, he was walking on the treadmill, and it was my job every evening to read him some whatever he was interested in reading, or sometimes we would correct the manuscripts of his own talks, transcribe and correct that. So I was standing, in near the treadmill, and he is walking, and I was reading some book. I forget what it was. I was reading him some book, and then as I read something, he really looked up. He was listening quietly and focusing on the walking. And then he looked up and he stopped walking, and the treadmill is moving, moving, moving. He's just stationary on the treadmill. And it was reaching the end. So I threw the book and ran this side. ran this side. And then he said, "What happened? Why aren't you reading? What happened?" And then I told him, and somebody else was there. I think I made a noise. And so somebody else came and turned it off. It all happened in a split second. And then we made a note to ourselves that another brahmachari or somebody should be standing there, behind the treadmill, in case this happens, to catch Swamiji, if supposing he stops walking altogether. So that Dehatma Buddhi, this is what it is. So the Drishti Srishti Vada is wonderful, because it just, what should I say, erases. Taking this seriously erases the Dehatma Buddhi completely. Completely. Dehatma Buddhi is not there at all. And so this is the teaching here. Otherwise, what, all the time, even though we think we are not paying attention to the body, if you just really, gave $1 to somebody, each time the body came into the picture, the mind came into the picture, one would be impoverished in one day. That is how many times how much one is obsessed with the needs of the body, the vagaries of the mind. and the senseless pursuit of the senses. What this is just within the body mind sense complex. What to talk about everything that confronts one. Therefore, the idea is to get to the place of saying what Jagat. And that is what is described. Let us look at, with these words, let us look at the text here. Very nice bhashya is there. So let us look at that as well. 81, is it? Yeah. यो यो दृग्गोचरार्थो भवति स सतदा तद्गतात्मस्वरूपाः अविज्ञानेनोत्पद्यमानस्फुरति ननु यथा शुक्तिका ज्ञानहेतुः रौप्याभासो मृषैव स्फुरति च किरणाज्ञानतोऽम्भो भुजङ्गो रज्ज्वाज्ञानान्निमेषं सुखभयकृदतो दृष्टिसृष्टं किलेदम् दृष्टिसृष्टं Kila idam. Kila means nirdharanarthe. Kila is an expression of ascertainment. Indeed. Kila means indeed this is drishti srishti. This is drishtam eva srishtam idam. Kila. Indeed, you know what you see is alone the srishti. There is no other srishti. It's like complete subjectivity, one may think, but it's not subjectivity. It's objectivity to recognize this subjectivity, to recognize that this subjectivity is so total and so complete. That is objectivity. So, yaha driggochararthaha bhavati. So, all the things that are perceptible. Sasatada. So, all the things that are objects of sight, etc., objects that can be objectified by various sense organs. Sasatada tadgat atmaswarupaha. All of them are what? Atmaswarupaha. So Atmaswarupa, they are in the form of Atma only. Avijnana utpadyamanah spurati nanu. However, because of avidya, avijnana means avidya. Because of avidya, utpadyamana spurati. So even though everything is Atma, you can't even say everything is Atma because what everything? That is what we have to say. But still, for the sake of just, what should I say? For the sake of understanding this, let's give ourselves a little slack and say, okay, everything is Atma. If you say that, then where are these discrete things rising from? Avijnana hetuhu. Avijnana hetu. Avijnana hetu means that they are the product of ajnanam. Oh, ajnanam can give rise. Yeah, ajnanam creates. What does it create? Confusion. So that is what it does. It creates what else? A samsara-sized headache. It creates. That is what the prasada of ajnanam. And so now, this is something very interesting here. Avijnana utpadyamanaha spurati. So when you say all this that is here, I am seeing, I am entertaining, I am engaging with all these things, then these are all the products. When you see something other than you, it is avidya. It is the product of avidya. No, I don't have avidya. I have been studying Vedanta for 25 years. In your dreams. That is what Drishti Srishti Vada will say. And it will further say what Vedanta, what Guru, what Shishya, what Jagat. So then you are flummoxed. So then basically you have broadcasted your ajnanam by saying you have gone to the Guru and you have been, because that means you're living in the past. Who went to the Guru? Not the you that supposedly had the knowledge. So somebody went to the Guru, the Avidyavan went to the Guru, then quote unquote became Vidyavan. Even the Nirasanam, meaning the removal of Ajnanam, is also as though, because the consciousness is free of Ajnanam. So here you went and it's like a bald man going for a haircut, totally bald, not even a single hair, going for a haircut and saying, I had a very nice haircut. So like this is what you went to the Guru. What Guru? Who is the Guru? Shastra. What Shastra? There's nothing other than you. I told you it's very, very drastic. You have to be ready for it. And so, but still, for the sake of argument, sorry, yo, drik gocharar. So, whatever are there that you think are separate from you, you have to see it as Atma alone. There is no other thing. Don't say everything is Atma. Just say there is only Atma. So the three orders of reality, the expressions are different. So in the three orders of reality, pratibhasika, vyavaharika, paramarthika, we will say everything is I, everything is Atma. Meaning we are giving a certain kind of empiricism to that manifest reality and reckoning that everything. But here, what will we say? All there is Atma alone. There is no word called everything in the dictionary of the Drishti Srishtivada. The dictionary of the Drishti Srishtivada is very slim. It has only one word, Atma. No other word is there. No other word needs to be known. But what about Brahman? That is also Atma. So just get over it. There's only Atma. It's a one word dictionary. So therefore, they will not spend money trying to publish a dictionary because what's the use? That one word you can just know as yourself, that's all there is. But then why does the world rise as a phenomenon, both within myself and without? Why does the world rise? And the Drishti Srishtivada will say, because you have avidya. But I told you, no, I went to the Guru. Don't get me started on that. That means you still have avidya. You still have avidya. And so obviously that did not work. So go back to Vedanta 101, find another guru, or go back to the same guru. This is what the Drishti Srishtivada will say. And then what? Yeah, it's some people have accused the Drishti Srishtivada of being a killjoy, a spoil sport. And more about that later. Let's not get distracted from this thing here. So that's why yatha shuktika ajnana hetuhu raupya bhasah मृषा एव स्फुरति च किरण अज्ञान हेतोः अम्भः अम्भः भुजङ्गः रज्जु अज्ञान निमेषः अज्ञानात् स्फुरति. So the world you look at is a completely solipsistic world. It's a completely subjective world devoid of any objectivity. Like what? Like what means what? Like the three stock examples that we have. Like the snake, quote unquote snake that you see on the rope. And like the mirage water that you see on the sand. And then like what's the third example? Shuktika. Like the silver that you are convinced is on the mother, on, so to speak, within apostrophes, on the mother of the pearl. Just like that. Oh, but that's all my own projection. Exactly. That's the whole point. That there is no difference between Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika at all. Zero difference. So then it is very clear. So now he gives each example along with the Adhishthana and the Adhyasa in each example. So in the first example, Shuktika Ajnana Hetu, Shuktikayaha Ajnana Hetu, Raupyabhasaha. This is how you have to take it. Shuktikayaha. So of the mother of pearl, what? Ajnana Hetu. The Hetu, the Ajnanam born of, not the Ajnanam, which results in not knowing the mother of pearl, leads to a abhasa, adhyasa, a projection that it is raupya. It's a silver coin. Raupya means silver coin. Mrisha eva spurati. And it is totally false. Why? Because you ran in the sand. It's not easy to run in the sand, but still you ran in the sand. And then what did you do? You picked it up and you said, oh, just a worthless piece of mother of pearl, and you threw it back. Why? Because it was because of Ajnanam only it's Purati. Mrisha eva Spurati. It shines, as false. And then what? Kirana Ajnana. Ajnanatah means Kirana Ajnanat. By not knowing the rays of the sun. How can you not know the rays of the sun? You know the rays of the sun, but you don't know the rays of the sun as doing this little mischief of projecting something on the sand which is not there. Ambhaha, what is that they project? Water. So there are iron filings on the sand, and the sun's rays glinting at an angle at certain times of the day can manifest an instant oasis that is not really there. And then you say, "Oh, I'm taking a dip right now." And you dive into a sand dune. That's what you do. We don't dive into water. So, mirage water. And then what? That's the next example. That is also Mrisha eva spurati. Then Bhujangaha, the serpent, Rajju Ajnanat. Rajju Ajnanat. Rajju Ajnanat means because of the Ajnana, the ignorance of the rope, the serpent shines. The serpent is a projection of your own ignorance. The mirage is a projection of your own ignorance. And then what else? The silver is a projection of your own ignorance because you do not know the adhisthana of each of them in each of the cases. So therefore, you project the jagat. You see things in the jagat. Why? Because jagataha adhisthana ajnana hetuhu. The cause of seeing something as separate in the jagat, as all these things that you can count in the jagat. The cause of that is because you don't know. Just like you see the snake because you don't know the rope. You don't know the ropes of Vedanta. That's why you see the jagat. You don't know the adhisthana, which is this consciousness which does not create, does not move, does not do anything. And so this is what is this is what is the Drishti Srishtivada explained very well here. And then it says that Nimesham means in a second, in a micro split second. And what kind of a second is it? What kind of a moment is it? The time it takes to blink the eye. In a blink of an eye, these projections become Sukha Bhaya Krit. They become the Karakas. They become the cause of Sukha and Bhaya. Sukha means happiness. So what becomes the cause of happiness? As soon as you see Shuktika, you don't see the Shuktika, you see the Raupya, you see the silver. Oh, here I go. Nobody else is there. Good. I saw it first. Mine. Finders, keepers. Sukha hetu. And then you find out what? It is not a find at all. You find out that it's just a worthless mother of pearl. So the fellow was laughing and jumping as he approached the silver, quote unquote silver. And then finding it to be nothing other than a worthless piece of mother of pearl. What did he do? He sat there and wept because he had already spent that silver dollar. He had already spent that. That's why he sat there and wept. And then what else? And then the desert mirage. Here was a person, she was going in the desert, all hot and bothered, saw an extremely lovely, wonderful, what's its name, body of water, a little desert pool. And then what happened? Wanted to take a dip and then found that it was nothing but the sand dune. And there again a disappointment. Happiness immediately followed by disappointment. And then finally, what? Finally, we have, of course, the scary example of seeing the serpent and then finally being relieved that it is not a serpent at all, it's a rope. But then seeing the serpent, already the blood pressure went up. The blood pressure went up. And then the adrenaline went up. Everything just, one was in a fight or flight mode. And then because then the stress level went up and one was traumatized. So therefore what? So the changing emotions, now happy, now sad, now frightened, now relieved, all this is a figment of your own imagination, is caused by ajnana, is a projection of ajnana, ajnana hetu. It's all a projection of ajnanam, and so therefore what? So therefore, this is this is that, what is that? Yeah. Spurati nanu, yeah, have I left it? Sukha bhayakrit ataha drishti srishtam kila idam. So drishti is indeed the srishti. It is siddha. It is so set forth. Let us read the bhashya of this Anandagiri has written. So let us look at that a little bit. Jagrad avasthayam yaha arthaha padarthaha. He qualifies this. He says, in the waking state, because in the dream what you see, is false. In the sleep, you don't see anything at all. So what to talk about that? There's no need to talk about that. So Jagrad avasthayam, in the waking state, yaha arthaha. So all the things, padarthaha. What are the padarthas you see in the Jagrad avastha, in the waking state? What do you see? Nr means people, pashu, animals, pakshi, Pakshi means the flying things, birds, etc. Tiryag means reptiles, etc. Adirupaha, all these things, trees, all these things. You have to add trees, mountains, everything. Adirupaha, gocharaha, Drik gocharaha means available for sight. Drishti vishayaha, objects of sight. Bhavati, so whatever is there, that is the whatever are there which are objects of sight, saha, that padartha, each of those things, tada tad darshana samaye tadgatatma swarupasya avijnana ajnanam tasmad utpadyamanaha eva spurati. Very nice. So, tada, at that time. So, when you see something means what? Any of the things. Like he explains, here Anandagiri explains, Nru means the human being, Pashu, Tiryag, Pakshi, all these things. Human beings, animals, mountains, oceans, whatever you see. Okay, you see all those things, and then whatever you see, what happens? Ye padarthaha, yo padarthaha. You see whatever you see, ye padarthaha. Then tada, at that time, tad darshana samaye means at the time of the sighting of those things. Then what happens? Tadgata atmaswarupasya. Tadgat atmaswarupasya, meaning that that thing that you saw, like what did you see? The silver dollar, the body of water, the mirage water you saw, and the snake you saw. Tadgat atmaswarupasya. So those objects of sight which you saw, avijnana ajnana tasmad utpadyamanaha eva Spuranti. So whatever all the things you saw shine as discrete objects. Why do they shine as discrete objects? They shine as discrete objects because of the fact that they are all just a figment of your own imaginations. And why are they a figment of your imagination? Because you don't know the truth. You don't know the adhishthana of all of them. You don't know that the adhishthana is you alone. So darshana samaye. So when you see a mirage water, it looks like the mirage water because you don't know the sun. You don't know the workings of the rays of the sun. And it shines as the serpent because you don't know the rope. It shines as the mother of pearl because you don't know the silver. So tattat ajnana hetu. And then he says, spurati driggochari bhuta padartha padartha utpattau avadhi karana avadhikarana ajnanam eva karanam ityartha. So Driggochari Bhuta. So that which is an object of those things that are which are the object of the senses, Padarthaha. Then Utpattau means at their birth, Avadhi Karana Ajnanam. Avadhi Karana Ajnanam Eva. So the cause of their birth is your ignorance alone. Karanam is that cause of the birth of these imaginary things. The cause of the birth of the imaginary things is your ajnana of that which the truth of those things. That is why they are caused, and that's why they are temporal. They are all time bound because sooner or later you are going to figure out that it's a rope and it's just a sand dune. It's not some kind of a oasis. And sooner or later you are going to figure out it's a mother of pearl and it is not really the silver. You're going to figure it out. And so therefore it is what this is ajnanam, this is ajnana hetu. That is the karna. Yasya shukti ajnana utpaditah रजत हा भासः इदं रजतम् इति आकारेण स्फुरति तद्वत् आत्म अज्ञानेन पदार्थाकारः स्फुरति यतः सुषुप्तौ आत्मान्तःकरणवृत्तौ सत्यां पदार्थमात्रं न स्फुरति. So he's just basically going through the verse and doing this very, very well. And what is that? Yatha raupyabhasah shuktika ajnana hetuhu drishtah shuktikayaha ajnanameva hetuhu. So shuktikayaha ajnanam eva hetuhu yasya. So the cause of the silver is not knowing the Naker. Naker means mother of pearl. So then, Shukti Ajnana Utpaditah. So the silver dollar is born of the ignorance of the silver dollar is born of the ignorance of the mother of pearl. And so you don't know idam rajatam iti akaren. So it shines as the silver because you really don't know the mother of pearl. You don't know the mother of pearl. Your jnana of the mother of the pearl is causing you to imagine the silver. And then he points out, in a little kind of a footnote, saying that that in sleep you don't really see, in deep sleep, not dream. In deep sleep you don't see anything. So the footnote reads, Bhagavat Padamate Sushuptau Antahkaranasya Layat Na Tatra Antahkarana Vritti Pramaniki. Meaning there is no perception of anything, whether internal or external, in sleep, because the antahkarana is in a causal state. The mind, etc., are in a causal state. That is what Bhagavad, Adi Shankara says. He says, and then antahkarana vrittau satyam padarthamiti naspurati. So in sleep you don't see anything. Kirana ajnanatah marichi ajnanat मृगजल उत्पत्ति तथा रज्व अज्ञानात् भुजंगोत्पत्ति. So likewise, tatha, in the same manner, the not knowing the rays of the sun, one imagines an oasis, a kind of a mirage, and then not knowing the rope is a costly mistake because one projects a serpent on top of it. So evam saha pratibhasikopi padartha. So even though these products are completely imaginary, then nimesha samayam, in a blink of an eye, yavat sukha bhayakrit bhavati. So at the time of in that short tenure that they have, they become the cause of fear and the cause of all kinds of problems, fear, happiness, all kinds of emotions. Then yavat sukha bhayakrit bhavati. Then he explains how daridrasya pipasarditasya cha raupya marichi ambu darshana ashvasena sukham bhavati. So for the fellow who feels, daridra means the poor one, for the poor one, and then the pipasarditasya, and for the thirsty one. For the poor one and the thirsty one, what happens? The sight of the silver dollar and the sight of the mirage water fills them with relief, ashvasana, consoles them and fills them with hope and relief. And then but then what happens? It is just a small, for a very little time. Then tatha eva bhujaga darshanat bhayam bhavati. So for the one who is already puk puk, afraid, then they see the rope, and then they see the snake, sorry, and then they get frightened. They see the snake instead of the rope and then get frightened. तथा च प्रातिभासिकस्य अपि पदार्थस्य पदार्थस्य ईषत्कार्यक्षमत्वं दृष्टम्. ईषत्कार्यक्षमत्वं means they have a small little time where they shine. Nishatkarya Kshamatvam, they are capable of taking you for a loop. They are capable of causing sorrow, etc. Tadvat, Prakrite api Kshanika Sukha Dukha Utpatti Shaktatvam Asti Ityarthaha. So, like that, even in the present context of these examples, even for a second, they have the ability to produce sorrow. They means not the objects, but the wrong perception of the objects, meaning your own ajna. And what is the cause of wrong perception? Ajnanam alone. And so, in other words, it would not, you are the cause of your own sorrow here. You are causing your sorrow for no reason, no reason at all. You are the one who is causing your sorrow. You are the one who is doing all this, and then what? So, because you are causing your sorrow, so until you understand, even for the short time, you are filled with sorrow, you are filled with joy, all these things, these changing emotions. तद्वत् क्षणिक सुख दुख इत्यर्थः अतः इदं पदार्थ जातं किल. So this is all what this is indeed caused by the not knowing of the things. Indeed, दृष्टि सृष्टम दर्शन काले एव सृष्टम. दृष्टि सृष्टम means दर्शन काले एव सृष्टम. So he defines drishti srishti means darshana kale eva srishtam, that which is conjured up at the time of seeing itself. That is what is drishti srishti. In other words, what jagat? Okay. Yeah, parantu dridha samskara anubandhena jnayate. But this is understood through firming up the teachings of Vedanta and learning to live in that. Yatha ulmuke भ्राम्यमाणे ulmuke paridhi rupam tejaha gochari bhavati न ulmukam bhavati iti arthaha. Very nice example he gives. Brahmyamane ulmuke. Ulmuka is a firebrand. So you hold the firebrand in the night. Then what happens? Then let's say there is a breeze. And in the breeze, the firebrand turns this way because that's the breeze is coming from the opposite direction. So the fire turns this way and bends and seems to be raging at a 90-degree angle. Does that mean the firebrand has the firebrand is this thing? The stick, the holding that has also turned? No. That's the idea. It looks like that. But the firebrand has, it's just responding to the wind. It hasn't really turned. Nothing has turned really, but it looks like there is an abhasa of it. It looks like the paridhi. Paridhi means the limitations of that fire. That firebrand, which had a certain shape, has changed and it has increased when there is a gust of wind. It has increased in response to the wind, but then it has really, that itself is a apparition. So the whole Jagat is an apparition, a very scary and a sorrow-filled apparition. Sometimes gives happiness, but then that happiness is finite because of, again, ajnanam. More we'll see next time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.